Hello everyone, this is Brian Bentley at CoinOpTV bringing you gameplay and commentary for Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment on the PlayStation 4. If you are a frequent reader of the site, you'll know that I did a review of this game already on the Vita, in which I kind of had a not negative, just not the best experience with the game. So it just so happens that when I really sat down and started playing it this time on the PlayStation 4, I decided I was going to try streaming it for a while. And I happened to get a few different people, some really good friends of mine, and that was always nice. But I also got someone who had previously put 400 hours into the Vita version and platinumed the game. Got a platinum trophy. So, taking Catlord 2's advice, instead of jumping right into the Hollow area, which is what I did on the Vita version, sort of took a different tack this time and stayed in Aincrad, working more towards the, trying to get into the labyrinth and working towards the boss battle on the 76th floor. So in this particular case, I have gone that route, and the battles were simpler. The difficulties that I was having in the Vita version, where I kind of felt like maybe I was bashing my head against a wall one too many times, not having that anymore. So I'm slowly but surely building up myself and my crew, the different people that I interact with, and then of course the larger assault team, which is basically the people you see here, even though technically there's like 100 people in the assault team and not, a dozen. But, of course that's all about rendering. So I decided what I would do for this video is show a boss battle. And in this is the 76th floor's boss, called Ghastly Gaze. And essentially there are, he has tentacles, he has an eye, and the evil eye does have a paralyzing effect. And basically, so before we get into more of the, down and dirty of this actual battle, Sword Art Online, of course, is a anime that, I want to say that there's 2 full seasons of Sword Art Online, and the general gist, of course, is that they have, VR headsets that are, much, better than the ones that we're currently about to get from Oculus and Vive and I can't think of what the Morpheus, of course. So, they put on our main character, Kirito, and everyone else. There are 10,000 people who were allowed to purchase the game. So he puts on the headset, he lays down, and every single person is brought into the game, and then they're trapped there by the game designer. So he traps them in the game, and if you die in the game, you die in real life. So the first season's all about getting through that that ordeal, and the second season's more along the lines of him trying to find Asuna. So I guess there's really a third season now that I think about it, because the third season's about kind of like everyone gets together and they're trying to do different things, and there's guns involved in a whole different world. And the bottom line, of course, is that this is essentially a Japanese role-playing game that is mimicking an MMO that you are playing. So the main character is, so the main character is actually playing a video game, and you are playing a character in a video game as a character that you're playing. So, now back to the battle. Now that makes perfect sense, of course, we're gonna go back to the battle. And the Ghastly Gaze, like I said, has the main body. He has the evil eye and has the tentacle. Right? Once you've either defeated the evil eye or the tentacle, they do regenerate after a time, but for that period of time, now you'll notice I just did 100,150 damage, and we've barely gotten through the second of 3 bars. Now, in theory, you have, like, there's, like I said, 100 people or so in the assault team. There's really not 100 people on the screen right now. There's maybe it's the 6. So there's Kirito, Asuna, who were actually partied up, then Carmine, Greg, Viola, and Marla. And so we're all making attacks. Now, I am currently using Rapier. It's one of those things where you find different weapons in the world, and you decide you want to use that. Now, the downside of playing a game that looks a lot like an MMO and plays a lot like an MMO is that the game then has the problem that many MMOs face, and that is you're pressing buttons to watch skills, to watch timers go down. So I have this particular skill, and I can't think of off the top of my head of what it's called, but you'll notice on the right-hand side in the bottom there are 4 little boxes, each corresponding to one of the face buttons on the front of the controller. And so I'm watching this bar raise up, and essentially that is a skill timer cooldown. And once you're able to do that, then you're able to use that skill again. Now there's kind of this group, and then I have another group where I can press the R1 button, and it brings up, I can press buttons, and it brings up more. You'll notice that the skill palette, you just saw me swap something in and use a different skill there. Now, at the same time, while you're doing that, you also need to keep track of your partner, right? So if Asuna dies, I lose the game. Excuse me, I lose the game as well. But while you're doing that, you have to remember that there is okay, so there's a perfect example. Switch. And switch is the down arrow on your keypad. Now, in the show, you would use it to combo, right? So I'm attacking with my sword, and then I do switch, and I turn, and then you come in with your big attack as my partner, right? So this happens a lot with, obviously, in the love story of Kirito and Asuna, where, they do all these really cool switch attacks, and, and you'll just hear them go, hey, switcha! And then, then they do something amazing. In the game here, in Hollow Fragment, it's more used as a device to change the mob, whatever, to change its focus. So right now, you'll notice that next to my name, there's a arrow target. Means that the boss is targeting me, which is fine considering I have a ton of hit points compared to everybody else. So that's how the switch is used. Now you'll also notice, so that's you'll notice that's in the right-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. It says switch. Now in the Vita version, you actually had to press the screen there. That's why they're on the screen. You don't have to do that here, obviously, because there's no screen to touch. Although, I didn't understand why they didn't use the faceplate on the PS4 control on the DualShock 4. But, that's developer's choice. Anyway, you'll notice on the left-hand side, it says good! So, one of the things that you have to do in this game is develop the relationships that you have with the different members of your party. Now, as much as I really, really enjoy this particular anime, I will say that there are elements of a harem. And so there are, inexplicably, a large number of young ladies who are essentially in love with you. Whether they admit it or not, they're essentially in love with you. Even though in quote-unquote in-game, you are married to Asuna in the game. But, so one thing you can do is, while you're in battle, if they do something good, if they do something cool, or they do a great move, or whatever, they do a lot of damage, you can press the up button on your D-pad, and that will tell them, hey, good job! And then, like, some, they're like colored notes will come off and go bling bling, and they'll drop on the ground, and essentially you're picking them up, and, you know, you've, improved your relationship with them. I have not gotten to the point where I've either maxed out anyone yet, so I clearly can't tell you exactly what that means, but, you can bring, there are a lot of different people that you can bring with you, so bringing some with you on a mission is a big deal, right? There's actually, I obviously have not unlocked all of them, but there are roughly about 100 different people that you can become friends with and bring with you on these missions. Think about that. 100 different people. We've really got the ghastly gaze. We've really got them down to the bone. And, much like other, use the word real MMOs, but, actual MMOs, when you get a boss down to this little, they change. So, from, say 60%, from 100% health down to, say 50% health, they act one way. And then from 50% to 25%, they act a different way. And then from 25% to 0, they act a different way. So there's different, things that they do, different attacks, and that happens here. So it was nice to be able to clear a level, as the first season of the anime ends at the end of the 75th floor. That's kind of where this game takes off. Now they've ported Hollow Fragment over, and in kind of as a beginning, as a $20 download, as a beginning to get people to wet their whistle before Lost Souls comes out later in the year. And I'm very curious to see where that game is going to go and whether or not it's really going to be that much different than this game. So now we've activated the next floor, and we're moving up in the world. It's one of those things where you're trying to get to 100, finish the game, and in theory you'll be let out. The interesting thing to me then is there's also the Hollow area. Now I'm thinking that I'm going to go over to the Hollow area after this, and it's going to be much easier. You know what else is easy? Liking this video. You do so by underneath the views. There's a little thumbs up. Go ahead and like the video, and be sure to subscribe to the CoinOpTV YouTube channel. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.